हम कभी कभार सोचते हैं we'll wait for the right time to do things, और उस right time में maybe time बहुत pass हो जाता है and we don't do things. When I went to receive the award, at that moment, my grandparents also walked on the red carpet. So my grandparents and my father were there, all three of them. Somewhere I do feel that there is importance of money. But alongside that, I do feel that there is a purpose that I want to work on to. That our non-profit sector or the impact sector or the development sector, whatever we call it, is getting more organized and is also paying well enough to be compared to the corporate jobs that we talk about.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, द सोशल पर्पस की होप 24 पॉडकास्ट सीरीज के एक नए एपिसोड में आप सभी दर्शकों का हार्दिक स्वागत है। दोस्तों, अब तक होप 24 सीरीज के अंतर्गत 3 एपिसोड्स आ चुके हैं, जहां आप एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के गुर सीख सकते हैं, एनपीसीजी जैसी टॉप कंसल्टिंग में कैरियर बनाने संबंधी जानकारी प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। अभी तक आपने अगर ये एपिसोड्स नहीं देखे हैं तो यू मस्ट सी दीज इनसाइटफुल एपिसोड्स थ्रू द लिंक इन डिस्क्रिप्शन। और दोस्तों, अगर आपको हमारा ये पर्पस ड्रिवन प्रयास पसंद आता है तो प्लीज लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब द सोशल पर्पस। विद द सेम एनर्जी वी आर गोइंग टू मूव अहेड फॉर दिस एपिसोड एंड वी आर गोइंग टू इंट्रोड्यूस आवर न्यू गेस्ट, स्पेशल गेस्ट मिस सलोनी पारिक to this episode. And Saloni is currently working as project manager at Central Square Foundation, and she has been conferred with NSS National Award in year 2017-18 by Honorable President of India Ramnath Kovind ji. So very warm welcome Saloni to this episode, and we are really looking forward to this insightful session.
Thank you, Alok. Namaste, everyone.
So Saloni, let's start this episode with just introduce yourself to our viewers and let us know how your social journey started.
श्योर आलोक, थैंक यू। आपने सबसे बड़ा लाइफ का फेस तो ऑलरेडी बता दिया लाइफ का, NSS National Award. That has been a very significant moment in my life. To begin with, namaste. My name is Saloni Parikh and I'm currently working as a project manager with the Central Square Foundation, निपुण भारत मिशन, जो गुजरात गवर्नमेंट के साथ हम एग्जीक्यूट कर रहे हैं, which is called as निपुण भारत in Gujarat. I'm working there currently. Before that, I was a Mahatma Gandhi National Fellow with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, alongside studying public policy and management at IIM Bangalore. Before that, I did my engineering in electronics and communication from Vishwakarma Government Engineering College, Gujarat, and that has been my education journey. Apart from that, when all these 3 important educational phases were a part of life, I also came in front of a beautiful journey of volunteering, and I started volunteering when I entered my engineering college since 2015 in National Service Scheme and multiple other NGOs. So this experience has given me a lot of insights into how the world works and how the changes are happening in the real world.
Yeah, Saloni, you have connected your dots very beautifully. So I'll just go back to your engineering thing and ask that how this thing has unfolded, right? Because for an engineer getting into NSS, I'm an engineer myself, so I know how it's an unconventional thing to be in volunteering like NSS, then moving to non-profit sector. We are really excited to know about it. So how that started?
Okay, I'm equally excited to share why engineering first. So a usual track, अच्छे percent, eventually A group या B group. मुझे खून से डर लगता है, so eventually A group and then mathematics. I love mathematics, I love physics. So the love for electrons and protons brought me to electronics and communication engineering. That's how I ended up in engineering. But when I took the first step, I owe it to my seniors कि जब हम फर्स्ट ईयर में थे, हमारा ब्रिज कोर्स हो रहा था, तो फर्स्ट ईयर चिल्ड्रन आर वेरी मच लाइव विथ एनर्जी की बहुत सारी चीज़ें करनी है. सिमिलरली आई वांटेड टू डू, ये क्लब ज्वाइन करना था, वो क्लब ज्वाइन करना था, हर एक चीज़ कर लेनी थी जो कॉलेज में है. एंड दे वर लाइक, चलो हम एक स्पेशली एबल्ड किड्स के लिए हम एक ड्राइंग कॉम्पिटिशन ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं, यू कम एंड वॉलंटियर. That was the first part or the first incident in my life where I volunteered, and which became a Limca Book of Records in 2015. So that was my first instance. That was something that very much emotionally connected me. How we people have always been taking things and taking resources from everywhere, and this was the first time I felt I could do something for someone. So this was a trigger point. Uske baad I got to know about National Service Scheme in my college. How we are working, what we are working into it, take it tree plantation, blood donation, special camps we are doing in villages, फिर innovative activities we are doing. Gujarat is very well known for Uttarayan. So हमारे seniors ने एक project start किया था, save the birds from मांझा. So Uttarayan के बाद जो भी मांझा collect होता है, they collect it and then give it to an NGO that recycles into a cement boxes. So ऐसी छोटी छोटी चीज़ों से inspire होके I was like, why not, let me just experiment क्या होता है, कैसे होता है. And I became a part of National Service Scheme. And the journey started there. So when I was thoda bahut understanding about engineering also, more of it, I was also understanding how changes happen in the real world, how our contributions matter. We think, once upon a time, I used to think कि मैं एक इंसान को change करूँगी, क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है? And now I've come to the stage, I feel that every individual's little efforts together create that effect which brings a bigger change. So that was a big thing, which brought me into the sector of volunteering and engineering to then take it social sector. Uske baad, when I was volunteering, there were multiple events we did and multiple activities and projects we did. Out of which one was a very close to heart project which we called Vishwashala, named out of our college, Vishwakarma College and Shala Education. So हमारे college के बाहर slum kids रहते थे और हमारे जूनियर्स का आइडिया था, उनके साथ मिलके हमने डेवलप किया और हम उन्हें पढ़ाने जाते थे, पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट ट्रेनिंग देते थे, बेसिक हाइजीन सिखाते थे, ड्राइंग करते थे उनके साथ, मूवीज़ देखते थे. सो जब ये सारी चीज़ें हुई, दैट मेड मी रियलाइज आउट ऑफ एवरी सोशल प्रॉब्लम वी आर ऑब्जर्विंग, समवेयर एजुकेशन लिंक्स एवरीथिंग एंड एजुकेशन इज अ कोर टू एवरीथिंग. दैट मेड मी रियलाइज कि मुझे एजुकेशन को ज़्यादा समझना है, एंड दैट इज़ हाउ माई जर्नी स्टार्टेड टू वेयर आई एम टुडे.
Right. So when you're in college in NSS, and I constantly there is some chatter at the back end of you कि this is not going to help you a lot, so अब यहाँ रुक जाओ, अब यहाँ रुक जाओ, you can't go ahead, इसके आगे आप नहीं बढ़ सकते. So how you handle that constant chatter from the behind, from your families or even your professors in college? So how you decided to go ahead? As you shared that you developed that passion through that projects about education, but still, how did you manage that chatter?
राइट. सो व्हेन यू जस्ट स्पोक अबाउट दैट चैटर, कुछ आवाज़ें एक्चुअली मेरे दिमाग में आ गई. सो उस टाइम पे एनएसएस वाज प्रीडोमिनेंटली वर्किंग इनटू स्वच्छ भारत अभियान. वी वर वर्किंग इनटू क्लीनलीनेस कैंपेन, नॉट जस्ट इन आवर कॉलेजेस बट सिटी के लिए भी, ठीक है. सो बहुत सारे बच्चे एनएसएस के बच्चों को देखते बोलते थे, हाँ कचरा करो, ये लोग आके एनएसएस वाले साफ कर ही देंगे. उस टाइम पे मैं इस चीज़ को बहुत गलत तरीके से ले रही थी कि वाई आर एनएसएस पीपल नोन टू बी की they are more into cleanliness wala thing, because in this urban concept lifestyle that we are living, the biggest thing is cleanliness, जिसको हमने बहुत demean कर दिया है. तो I was also one of them who thought कि ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं. Later, which this chatter, I shared it with my mentor, and my mentor, who is also our NSS program director of our college, he shared why मतलब क्या गलत है इस चीज़ में कि वी आर क्लीनिंग आवरसेल्व्स, राइट. हम बाहर फिजिकली कुछ क्लीन करें या फिर मेंटली हमारे थॉट्स क्लीन करें, वी आर क्लीनिंग, एंड व्हेन वी आर क्लीनिंग थिंग्स आउटसाइड, वी आर क्लीनिंग थिंग्स इनसाइड. सो टेक इट पॉजिटिवली एंड मूव अहेड. सो दिस वाज वन थिंग. इस पर्सपेक्टिव में एनएसएस के साथ मैं आगे गई. एंड सेकेंड, जब हम बस यही वॉलंटियरिंग वाली चीज़ें लेते हैं, या फिर एक जो कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होता है कि जब हम समाज सेवा करते हैं, सेवा जब वर्ड आता है, तो इट इज़ मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम हम दिल से करते हैं. येस, वी डू इट दिल से, बट उस टाइम पे एक नॉन प्रॉफिट वाला सेक्टर इतना बाहर उभर के नहीं आया था कि पीपल यूज्ड टू आल्सो बिलीव कि इस चीज़ का ट्रांजैक्शन मनी भी हो सकता है. सो इट वाज ऑलवेज थॉट कि आगे जाके क्या करोगी तुम ये सब करके, अभी के लिए कर लो, मन बहला लो, बट जस्ट सी कि आगे जाके इंजीनियरिंग में तुम्हें आगे और क्या करना है. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स वर देयर, बट व्हाट आई फील वेरी ब्लेस्ड अबाउट, आई हैड अमेजिंग मेंटर्स एंड फ्रेंड्स अराउंड मी जो मुझे रियलिटी चेक भी देते थे कि येस, दिस इज द वर्ल्ड आउटसाइड लाइक दिस, बट यू नीड टू मेक श्योर कि इफ यू आर टेकिंग एन अनचार्टर्ड वे, इफ यू आर डूइंग समथिंग एवरीवन इज नॉट डूइंग, तो इट वुड बी डिफिकल्ट, but then you have to trust yourself. So somewhere the confidence that people around me gave me, and that is somewhere pushing me still. So I owe a lot to the people around me.
So Saloni, you are National NSS Award. We like to request you to share our viewers that some special moment and some fun moments during NSS.
Like eventually NSS, every all 4 years were equally exciting, but one fun moment that I still remember is when I went for my first special camp. So a privileged kid going into a village, जिन्हें गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में रहना था, खुद खाना बनाना था. हमारे सीनियर्स तो बहुत अच्छे से करते थे, मुझे भी साथ में बिठा दिया, मुझे टमाटर चॉप करने को बिठा दिया उन्होंने. आज तक मैंने लाइफ में चाकू नहीं पकड़ा था. So that was the moment I sat, and when I tried to chop the tomato, eventually what happens, there was a fountain, and that was a very fun moment, still captured in the form of an image, और जब भी देखते हैं हंसी आती है. But that's a very fun moment with us, like that's something that bonded me to the NSS family, how we laughed together every time whatever happened and still built up together.
So what was that special moment, if you'd like to share?
Yeah, there are many special moments and selection of one is becoming tough, but what first thing that comes in my mind is the NSS National Award itself. Because I remember when I went to receive that award. One, before that, our whole college was proud because this is the first national award that our college received for NSS. And it's because, like, more than me, my whole batch was excited, and my whole college, whole NSS unit, my seniors were excited. So that is a very special moment which kind of brought tears. And when I went to receive the award, at that moment, my grandparents also walked on the red carpet. So my grandparents and my father were there, all three of them. So seeing them walk on the red carpet made me feel very good to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. They were very happy, so that was good.
Amazing. So Saloni, that unconventional decision, that when you decided to move to this non-profit sector, right? And also when we see a lot of NSS volunteers, they put in a lot of energy and learn a lot during their college days to NSS. But all of them are not able to move to non-profit sector, or many of are not even aware about it. So how did you first got to know that this sector exists and you will go toward this sector?
Correct. So for me, honestly, it was a very natural journey that came. We all are a part of some kind of WhatsApp groups, and one of my seniors sent me the post of Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship. I always wanted to. It was my dad's dream that I study in an MBA college, take it in IIM predominantly, and then I started preparing for my MBA, but didn't score well then. And then fortunately, MGNF came. That was the first year, the pilot batch of MGNF. I wanted to do education, study public policy and management, and then it came that IIM is teaching it, then why not? So eventually, I applied for it. We gave the exam, SOP लिखना था, उसके बाद interview हुए, and then the selection process was like that. So for me, it did come naturally, honestly speaking. कि I didn't have to look at much places for it. But now, when I see today, if we want to make that transition, things are very much in our front. I feel the plate is already decorated with the youth today. There are many kind of fellowships that are going on to begin with, because if you're not primarily studying social services or social work, and any of the take it sociology, psychology, any domains that directly link us to the human beliefs and how behavioral change happen, opportunities like fellowship help us कि वहाँ उतना accountability factor जो होता है वो किसी के साथ share करना होता है. उसके साथ that's also learning opportunity कि we learn while we earn and also get an experience. So I do feel कि today we have a system set for it.
Saloni, I would like to know how your NSS journey and experiences in NSS has helped you do better this program called Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship. Did it help in getting through the selection process also?
Yes, eventually, absolutely. So NSS taught me everything, I would say. NSS was the platform that I've received, which has made me whoever I am today. And how it has helped me, if I have to critically evaluate it, first, it brought me directly to the ground. I believe that all of us who are on this platform connected today do come from a privileged background, that we have this access along with us. Maximum of our India still doesn't have it. So I had this privilege with me. Alongside that, I did believe that changes happen at larger scale only. Take it, if I create a change in policy, then eventually the change will drop down. When I worked with NSS as a volunteer, I realized it's the other way. Change begins from bottom. There are these small initiatives at different places that build up to go up, and then there is the change that comes. So this is the biggest lesson that I've learned with NSS. More, or I would say equally important to it, is the human connections that I built during these whole 4 years of NSS volunteership period. I got many opportunities, take it in volunteering, meeting people from different colleges, then at national level representing Republic Day parade, national integration camps, and eventually our NSS National Award. So these connections make me feel that there are different flowers blooming in different areas of our country, and together we are spreading fragrance in front of each other. So this made me realize that when we are able to do this with each other, we also get in a confidence that we are able to deal with any people and in any strata of society. So when today I have to deal with take it politicians, to take it ministers, to IS officers, I get the courage to talk with them as confidently as I talk to my colleagues, as my staff who cleans our offices and homes for us, and to everyone that I meet. So this, not putting anything in hierarchy, that is vertical, but putting everything in horizontal vertices is something that I've learned in NSS, and respecting everyone equally.
So what were some key learnings out of that fellowship which has helped you?
When I entered the district MGNF, I had this thought कि when when I'll come out of Surendranagar after 2 years, पूरा Surendranagar का चेहरा बदल जाएगा. It will become a developed district, and then I'll be very successful out of it. And that confidence did come from successful initiatives that we took under NSS. Eventually, how everything has helped me in the NGNF in the 2 years is how we deal with every stakeholder. Take it, I had to primarily work with the district collector and the IS officers of the district. We had to create a district skill development plan. Now, when we directly reach the top of the hierarchy, which is currently in presence, people feel that, ऊपर से कुछ काम आएगा, हमें करना पड़ेगा. But this process also taught me, ऊपर डिस्कशन करिए आप, बट एवरी स्टेज, हर जगह पे जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं उनके साथ इक्वल रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड करना इंपॉर्टेंट है, not just for the work purpose but also understanding what the human values we exchange. For example, I am working in education. The other person whom I'm talking, at any position, take it from class 1, class 2, or any position in the hierarchy till IS officer, they are also working in education, and they also have some soft corner for education why they are here. So why don't we connect on that same value, that can be anything, and then start working together. So relationship building is something that I've learned during the process, ki how with everyone we connect on personal values and then build upon the work that we want to do. So eventually all 4 years taught me to come to the same thing. If you want to get some work done, अगर वो एक अच्छे इंटेंशन के साथ हो रहा है, तो इंसानों के साथ अच्छे से कनेक्ट करो और वो चीजें खुद ही बिल्ड हो जाएगी ऊपर.
So Saloni, currently you are working at the state level. Can you share our viewers about the work you are doing at Central Square Foundation?
Sure, I'm doing one of the most exciting works that I've ever done in my life. So at Central Square Foundation, our team is working for the purpose, the whole foundation's purpose is providing quality education to children, and that is in early grades, and that also for the children who come from lower and middle income backgrounds. For Gujarat, we are working with the state government into the Nipun Bharat mission. Nipun Bharat mission is the foundational literacy and numeracy mission in which the government of India aims कि 2026-27 तक हम लोग हर एक बच्चे को इतना हुनर बनाए कि वो जो बेसिक लर्निंग कॉम्पिटेंसीज है, कैसे बोलना है, कैसे लिखना है, बेसिक चीज़ें उन्हें जो पता होनी चाहिए, बेसिक मैथ्स के कैलकुलेशन जैसे करने चाहिए, वो लोग कर सके बाय द एंड ऑफ ग्रेड 2. That is something we are working upon. And going a bit deeper into it, how are we working upon it? तो अभी एक स्कूल एजुकेशन देखते हैं. I work predominantly with the government schools. तो एक गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में टेक्स्ट बुक्स जाती है, बच्चे कैसे पढ़ते हैं, टीचर उन्हें कैसे पढ़ाते हैं, वो टीचर्स का ट्रेनिंग भी इस पार्ट में आ गया, टेक्स्ट बुक कैसे डेवलप होती है वो एक पार्ट में आ गया. उसके बाद हम पता कैसे करेंगे कि बच्चे ने कितना सीखा है. सो कम्स द पार्ट ऑफ असेसमेंट. सो बच्चों का जो असेसमेंट है फर्स्ट सेकंड स्टैंडर्ड, उन्हें थोड़ी हमें एकदम हमारे पेन पेपर बेस्ड करवा सकते हैं. अभी तो वो लोग सीख रहे हैं कि पेन और पेपर कैसे यूज होते हैं. सो उनके साथ हम वो कैसे कम्युनिकेट करेंगे, उनकी बातों से हम कैसे समझेंगे उन्हें कितना आ रहा है, कितना सीखे है वो, is something we are experimenting upon in Gujarat. So these are the parts where we are working along with the Nipun cell of Gujarat.
Right. So can you share some of the highlights of the initiatives, just like so that we can, going forward, we will understand the problem as well from your lens. Some highlighted initiatives that Gujarat government is taking for quality education.
Yes. So one of the thing I'm very much proud of, that our current secretary of Samagra Shiksha sir and special project director, they are currently working upon inclusivity, diversity and inclusion of every child. So we have created some materials for in Braille, which is the first step to include children. There are many more things to do. Then NEP 2020 also mentions कि पढ़ाई सिर्फ टेक्स्ट बुक से नहीं होती, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. आर्ट एंड क्रिएटिविटी इज़ वन ऑफ द मीडियम. सो हर एक स्कूल को ग्रांट दी गई है कि म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स खरीदिए और म्यूजिक के साथ बच्चों को पढ़ाइए. अलॉन्ग साइड जब बच्चे होते हैं तो इमेजेस और कलर्स के साथ वो लोग अच्छा पढ़ते हैं. तो इस बार हम लोगों ने छोटी छोटी बोर्ड बुक्स बनाई जिसमें फोटोज़ है एक ऑब्जेक्ट के और उसकी 3 लैंग्वेजेस में नाम है. सो वी आल्सो प्रमोटिंग मल्टीलिंगुअलिज्म. नाउ आवर NEP नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आल्सो टेल्स कि सिर्फ एक लैंग्वेज में पढ़ाई जरूरी नहीं है. मल्टीपल लैंग्वेजेस आर गुड फॉर अ चाइल्ड्स ग्रोथ. प्लस रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस, जिस लैंग्वेज में हम घर में बात करते हैं या फिर रीजन में बात ज़्यादा होती है उसमें पढ़ते हैं तो हमारे ब्रेन को ट्रिगर जल्दी करता है लर्न करने के लिए. सो वी आर ऑल्सो डूइंग मेनी एफर्ट्स इनटू मल्टीलिंगुअलिज्म. सो ये कंटेंट साइड इतना चीज़ें हैं जो हमने थोड़ा थोड़ा एक्सपेरिमेंट किया है.
So what are some of the challenges you still see that is lying in education space?
So when we talk about education, currently till date I would say we used to perceive education in a different sense. Take it, children are getting marks or not, and how much they are able to write the papers, which is now being changed at a very fast paced scale to see कि वो लोग competency based कितना सीख रहे हैं. उसका मीनिंग ये है कि अब जब बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं तो नाउ व्हाट वी आर एनालाइजिंग इज how much are those learnings actually helpful in their real life scenarios. So that is a challenge that we used to face, which we are working currently. We, as the whole education system of India, is working currently कि धीरे धीरे उसे change करें. This is one of the challenge of education जो perceive होता था और अभी भी हो रहा है. And the second thing I personally feel where we can work upon is including more, people who are working into the field from the non-governmental perspective into the picture, so that together we can build a better ecosystem around.
So Saloni, how do you see the future going forward, and where do you see yourself going forward 5-10 years down the line? I know it's a very tricky question.
Yeah, it is indeed, and I'm also still figuring out the answer. But what I currently think of is, it has been 1 year for me into core education. Take it the school education that I wanted to work in always. It's just 1 year. So I would like to take a few years of work experience, because I do believe that with the theory, practical experiences also matter. And then I would like to go for a master's or a PhD in the later stage. And in the long run, there are two options. So eventually my goal is to work with the government into policy in such a way that I'm also connected to the grassroots. That is my overall intention, which I'm currently doing at my own pace. And uske beech mein, the learning curve which I see for myself is a master's and a PhD, and eventually maybe, having my little project, something where I can talk to children about communication skills, soft skills, and what are the 21st century skills, because that is very close to my heart.
Right. So Saloni, your clarity, your thought is truly inspiring. And I think a lot of our viewers are young viewers who come from NSS and YKS, or they are involved in different kind of colleges in different societies. So many of they can't see the path कि अभी आगे जाकर के क्या कर सकते हैं, right? So I'd like to know if you can guide our viewers how they can get into the non-profit sector, and will this non-profit sector will be rewarding enough to build a career around it?
Yes. So as we discussed prior also, that working for a social cause once upon a time was called seva, which was not always transacted in the forms of money. But now, as we see that our non-profit sector or the impact sector or the development sector, whatever we call it, is getting more organized and is also paying well enough to be compared to the corporate jobs that we talk about. No comparison into anything, but now when I see myself 5 years back and how would I have navigated the journey, take it first, if I'm how do I identify मुझे social cause के लिए काम करना है या फिर मुझे engineering के लिए ही आगे जाना होता. So for that I need to first experiment. So the first thing that comes is, whenever we are in college, we need to be a part of a few clubs or organizations inside or outside college, जिससे हमें पता चले कि हमारी strengths और weaknesses क्या है. Take it, I realized during that time that my strength is in writing, my strength is in communicating, my strength is about relationship building, and emotional intelligence is something through which I navigate things through. So that is a skill that I realized. So similarly, everyone will have their own journey into identifying what are their strengths and weaknesses, and such clubs help identifying that. After that, for example, you realize you want to become a part of the impact sector. But then, if your course is not something related to impact sector that will directly link to it, and you still need to understand more, then I feel our field is very much open to things like fellowship, where people go on ground, they are mentored by amazing organizations and amazing institutes which teach them how to deal with things around, what are the perspectives that we need to keep in mind, and what are the things that you need to learn, unlearn, and rebuild yourself. So then the next step comes as fellowships. And these days Google Guru is helping us a lot in just finding out that if I want to do a fellowship in education, write fellowship in education. If you want to do it in women empowerment, write about that. If you want to work with the government directly, take it, it's Niti Aayog. If you want to work there, you can write opportunities in Niti Aayog for freshers. So these are similar things that you can find, and there are multiple other institutes. To name one that I know of is Eklavya. They help people identify the organizations or institutes that match your values.
Right.
So yeah, and when I come to the word values, it is very much important to understand. When today I'm working in a non-profit sector, there is somewhere I do feel that there is importance of money, but alongside that, I do feel that there is a purpose that I want to work on too. For a few people, it's okay that the purpose is not there, but they want to become very rich. No question in that. People have to be, and if it's their goal, we respect it. So you need to understand your value. If you want to be someone who's very rich, you need to make choices like this. If you want to be someone who wants to lead with purpose, or paisa average hoga ki meri life chal jayegi chalega, then you need to make choices like that. So these are some values that you will need to find for yourself. Then you will also need to find at what level you want to work. So when we came out of the fellowship and it was a time to find our jobs, our batch of fellows are working into different areas. A few people always wanted to be with grassroots, they're still working with villages. A few people who are struggling to find where, for example I am, they're working at state level to find कि उन्हें grassroots पे काम करना है, policy level पे. There are people very clear who want to work with the policy level, so they are at Delhi doing that. So when it comes to policy comes with policy research, policy implementation. उसके बीच में there are multiple domains where policy and research takes it shape. So we need to identify which part and which transition we want to take our journey through.
Right. So Saloni, can you talk us through that? What sort of skills are very critical and that could be built during college itself?
Right, very true. And skills, when we talk about, I categorize them into two, like everyone does. That's hard skills and soft skills, correct? So when we are part of such organizations, a few things we learn as hard skills. For example, everything that we are doing would maybe need branding and marketing. So all of us might be learning to use Canva or Photoshop or different sources of digital marketing. That's a form of communication, but then it comes into hard skill. When it comes to soft skills, the very integral component of whatever we are doing comes to be communication skills. However much machine learning would come into picture or AI would come into picture, human connections will never go away. And in whatever we do and wherever we go, we will have to deal with humans. So अगर हमें नहीं पता कि इंसानों के साथ बात कैसे करनी है, अगर दोनों के बीच में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है तो उसे रिजॉल्व कैसे करना है, अगर दो चीज में पैरिटी है, फॉर एग्जांपल what am I expecting and what the other person is expecting, तो उसके बीच में negotiate करके middle ground पे कैसे आना है. These are some common things that we need to learn, and these are the skills I find they are important. And eventually I feel if you just reflect back from childhood, whatever we are doing, somewhere we are building upon our communication skills only. Hard skills are a part जो हम सीख रहे हैं, बट इवेंचुअली जो कंसिस्टेंट स्किल डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है वो तो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स और ह्यूमन स्किल्स जो आज हम 21st सेंचुरी स्किल्स बोलते हैं उन्हीं चीज़ों का हो रहा है.
Right, amazing. So I think I'd like to ask you, how exactly that you have find this passion. If you can guide our viewers, that those who are in this just like confused phase, so how to find that passion and especially to build it take it towards the purpose.
Right, how to find the passion. I wish I could be the right person to answer that. But you know what, Alok, I really feel the answer to this question can be only answered by that person themselves. Like, what is my passion? I can tell. What is your passion? Only you can tell. But the question is, how do we identify what is my passion? And that somewhere comes as I've read it. Whenever we are doing something, if that task, while doing the task, if we don't see the time, if we forget to eat, if we forget to do things, and we are so engrossed that it's a therapy for us, that is something that's passion for us. So for me, when I go with children, when I'm in schools, I forget have I eaten or not. I forget what's the time. So eventually I realize children, I'm passionate about children. I want to work with them. I see that, they are the change makers of tomorrow. As once upon a time, people told our generation that you are the change makers of tomorrow. We are seeing them as the next generation change makers. So I want to work with them. I want to just share what I have and learn from them. Similarly, for some other person, their passion can be identified if they experiment with those things. So one thing that my mentor suggested me, I am someone who wants to do hundreds of things. अभी भी मेरे पास 100 चीजें हैं जो मुझे करनी है, but I can't do everything at the same time, but I want to do everything. So how do I do it? So my mentor suggested me, make a list कि तुम्हें क्या क्या करना है. Priority wise हो ना हो, that is secondary. सिर्फ list बनाओ जैसे दिमाग में आ रहा है, and then start ticking it off. Just see कि first task मैं कर रही हूँ, मैं कितनी देर माने कितने सालों तक कर पा रही हूँ. For instance, if I'm getting bored in between, or I'm thinking this is not my thing, just change to the next, change to the next. Eventually you'll come to a point where you'll realize this is my thing, and that would be your passion. And somewhere I feel that having experimented with all these things, I finally landed to my passion. So I thank my mentor for that.
Amazing. And I think over the years I have also practiced this, how I can take things to minimum 3 or maximum 5. So that what happens when you have to cut out, you have to choose D 3 things, D 5 things. That's challenging, but that helps you. Taking out 95 things out of 100, right?
Very true. So it even helps us evaluate like what is really important in our life.
So Saloni, with this, we have come to end of our episode. And to close this episode, and I think I must say, we have such an engrossing conversation, and I would like to know any last remark you'd like to share with our viewers. And with this, we'll be closing the session.
Correct. Yes, I have something to share, which just came to my mind. So, recently, when we are in such a stage of life, now when we are making many choices for our life, career, हम कभी कभार सोचते हैं we'll wait for the right time to do things, और उस right time में maybe time बहुत pass हो जाता है and we don't do things. So one lesson that I'm taking ahead with me also in this year, one, to speak up for yourself, and second, just do it. If you're thinking कि ये करना है, थोड़ा सा plan करो और just कर दो. ये statement मैंने अभी read किया, over analyzing things paralyzes things. So analyze ज़्यादा करके चीज़ें paralyze करने की जगह पे just do it.
And with this remarks, and we are going to close this session. Thank you very much, Saloni, for giving your invaluable time for this session. We thoroughly enjoyed this, and our viewers would have enjoyed it. With this, we are going to close it. Thank you, Saloni.
Thank you. I hope it was nice listening for everyone. Thank you for listening.